Umagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshurmiritam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Gaurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadaraye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Continuing Vedanta Sutra, this is almost the last verses of the first chapter. And this is dealing with Sankhya. The last part 4 of first chapter, deals mainly with the Sankhya philosophy, atheistic Sankhya. And the main sutra reads like this: Atma krite parinamat. There are two ablative forms, kritehe, parinamat, ablative form, which is very often used in Vedanta Sutra, which can be translated as because of or on account of. So, there's no verbs in this sutra. Most sutra have no verb. So, we have to deduce or make it active with a verb. So, the translation, because he created himself, Atma means himself, Krite, to create, on account of being created himself, on account of transformation, parinama. So we're going to explain this sutra because this is like a textual translation close to the Sanskrit. It doesn't always make sense, so it needs to be explained. But before, let me explain very shortly what is Sankhya. Because we are familiar maybe with the Sankhya in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, given by Kapila Dev, who is an avatar, a plenary expansion of Vishnu, and talking to Devahuti, speaking Bhakti Yoga. So we think that when we are speaking about Sankhya, we are referring to him. Yes, of course, we are referring to the original Sankhya, who is Vishnu himself. But the Acharya, or Vaishnava Acharya, explained there is another Kapila, who is an atheist, who appeared and gave this atheistic Sankhya. The word Sankhya means to count. Counting the tattva, or the different principle that comes from one original source. The atheistic Sankhya is describing two major principles, Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti means the material world. When it is not manifested, it is called pradhan. Pradhan means unmanifested. It is like impersonal. It has no shape. And Purusha in atheistic Sankhya means the jiva, the jiva soul. There is no Ishvara. In atheistic Sankhya, there is no Ishvara. Now there are many ways of counting. Different Sankhya described by Krishna in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Some are saying there are 25 principles, some are saying there are 23, some are saying 16, some are saying 11, some are saying 5, some are saying 3, because it all depends what you include in those principles. Usually speaking from Pradhan, when Pradhan is agitated, when the Purusha is looking at Prakriti and he thinks, oh, she is lovely, then this Prakriti becomes alive. And from this Prakriti, all this evolutes. There's an evolution. Then comes Ahankara and Manas, and then the different kind of element, the 5 Mahabhuta, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then the Tanmatras, the power of seeing, the power of hearing, the power of smelling and tasting and touching. Then 10 senses. 5 karmandriya, working senses, the hands, the feet, the anus, the genital, the tongue. 5 gyanandriya, to acquire knowledge, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the hands, and so on and so forth. And so there are 25. Then the 25th, it's the Purusha. Of course, this is not the way of counting in the Bhagavatam and describing. In the Bhagavatam and Vaishnav Puranas and Vaishnav Tantra, Prakriti is also evolves due to Purusha. But Purusha is Mahapurusha, Mahavishnu. And he injects all the living souls, the little Jiva Purusha, into Prakriti. See, in the atheistic Sankhya, there are only two principles, the Jiva, who are unlimited, and Prakriti, which is one, unmanifested and manifested. The Jiva becomes ensnared by Maya. They don't call it Maya, but it's Prakriti. After that, Vedanta will call Prakriti Maya. But in the atheistic Sankhya, this is called Prakriti, and the Purusha is covered by a body with the senses, the working senses, the acquiring knowledge senses, and so on and so forth, and with the 5 elements. Then same thing as Vedanta, he's in Maya, illusion. He thinks he's the body, then he transmigrates into one body to another. When he has right knowledge to understand, I am not Prakriti, I am Purusha, then he becomes free. Prakriti stops ensnaring him, stop being interested in him when you become disinterested in Prakriti. This is called salvation, and the Purusha stands alone. This is a Kevalya state. He's alone, along with other Purusha, but they don't connect with each other. This is a little strange, but this is atheistic Kapila. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described this Maya, Prakriti Maya. Maya has function of creating this world and also of illusioning, putting everybody into illusion. And when we are understanding we are Jiva soul and that there is a great Purusha, Mahapurusha, then we become liberated. In these 2 paths to become liberated, Jnana Yoga, understanding Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body, and Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, which is completely free from all kinds of influence by the gunas. Srila Kapila Dev is describing these 81 forms of bhakti performed according to the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, and the 3 modes of nature. So you can hear in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of goodness. Or you can also hear in the mode of Nirguna. Nirguna Bhakti is above all this Guna Bhakti. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we come again to this idea of Atma Krite Parimana. There's also, this is also something of Vedanta. There are 2 causes to anything. One is called the Nimitta Karana, and another one is called Upadana Karana. Upadana Karata means the material cause, and Nimitta means the instrumental cause. So let me give an analogy given by the Acharya. If you want to create a pot, you need the material ingredients, which is mud or a lump of clay. Then you need water to mix it with the clay, and you need fire to cook the clay to make it hot. That is the material ingredients. But in order to make the pot, you also need an instrumental cause, which is the potter. Someone who makes the pot, because it's not going to create itself. So there are 2 causes for the pot, the material ingredients and the one who's making the pot. So similarly for the world, the material elements are those described in Sankhya, or like modern scientists are saying, atoms and molecules, and there's a creator. So now coming to Vedanta, Brahman is said to be Nirvikara. He has nothing to do with this material world. If you say that he is the instrumental cause, okay, as the Lord, he wishes to create and everything becomes created, but he cannot be the material cause. But Vedanta Sutra is saying, Atma Krite Parinamat. He created by himself, with himself. With his own self, he created the world. How? By Parinam. Parinamavada means transformation. So the question is, how can Brahman becomes the world and the Jiva souls on top of this and still remain unchanged? Nirvikara. That is the big question. That is the big question. When in Upanishad it says, Tad ekshata bahusyam, he thought, Brahman thought, may I become many. He is one and he becomes many. So this is the question. Just like a lump of clay, does Brahman becomes the material elements and cook itself? How can it be? So the answer of Sripad Shankaracharya, he's saying, well, actually it is not a parinam. It is not a real transformation. It appears to be, but it is only an illusion. Vivarta. Brahmans appear to be modified as material things and spirit souls. Just like the illusion of taking a snake, taking a rope to be a snake, we have this illusion of taking thinking that this world is transformed, but actually it is not transformed. So here, Sripad Shankaracharya finds himself into a dilemma because he tries to solve a problem, namely, Brahman cannot be changed. He cannot be vikara, modified. And he tried to solve this problem with the idea of vivartavada, the illusion. It is only an illusion. But doing so, he stumbles with another bigger problem, which is, how can you explain that this Brahman falls into illusion? I am Brahman, and I am under the illusion of this material world. How do you explain this? Well, Shankaracharya doesn't explain, because his Maya, like he says, is incomprehensible. It is not to be understood by human mind. Well, easy to say for you who speaks that Maya is everything. That is why we call them Mayavad. And this is the third time that Shankaracharya contradicts Srila Vyasadeva. The first times in the very opening sutra, the second sutra, when it says Janmadiyasya yataha, how do we understand Brahman? Because he's the source of everything. Adi means and the rest. Janma, then the birth, but also the maintenance and the destruction of the world. Sripad Shankaracharya said, no, this is not the right definition of Brahman. This is only Tatashta Lakshana, not Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman. Because the scriptures also say Satya Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So this is the right definition of Brahman, not Janmadiyasya Yata. So he contradicts Vyasadeva. Then, when Vyasadeva is saying that this Brahman also is to be understood as bliss, Ananda Mayo Bhyasat, that he is full of Ananda, Sripad Shankaracharya first of all says, yes, this is describing Brahman. Then a few sutras later he comments and says, no, actually this applies only to the Jiva. Because in the passage in question, it's mentioned he's made of. Anandamaya means made of. And Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Ananda. He's pure Ananda, not made of. This is world jugglery. He contradicts for the second time Srila Vyasadeva. Now we're still in the first chapter. This is fourth part, verse Sutra 26, Atma Krite Parinamat. Srila Vyasadeva is saying this world, this Brahman is the causal, is the material cause and the instrumental cause, because he transformed himself. But Shankaracharya said no, he cannot transform himself. This is not right definition. Again, he contradicts Vyasadeva. He says this is Vivartavada. So how is Ramanujacharya understanding this? He's saying actually the transformation is only on the outside of Brahman. Brahman is Vishnu for Sripad Ramanujacharya, and he has this distinction between the body and the soul. Sharira and Shariri. Shariri is someone who is the soul within, just like the body is animated because of the soul, and the transformation of the body doesn't affect the soul. Similarly, the transformation of the world and the jiva is just the body or the universal form of this Brahman who remains unchanged. This is quite interesting, but it is not completely satisfactory, because this idea of outside and inside doesn't give the complete picture. The Vedanta Sutra is saying Brahman is the sole cause of the universe, the material cause and the instrumental cause. So the question always remains, how can it be the material cause without transforming itself? Well, the solution is given by the Gaudiya Vaishnava in this Shakti Parinamavada, not Brahma Parimavada. It's not Brahma would transform itself, not Vastu, which is the very much the entity itself, the substance of Brahman who becomes transformed, but the Shakti. Only its Shakti becomes modified, and its Shakti is inner. Its Swarupa Shakti is Srimati Radhika. And Bahiranga Shakti, who comes from Srimati Radhika, but is Bahir, it is outside. This is Maya Shakti or Ashintya Shakti. And the souls also belong to this Shakti called Tatashta Shakti, just like sparks belongs to the fire. They're all connected, but the sparks are not the entirety of the fire. All the drop of water in the ocean, it doesn't become one. It's always an individual drop. So this is the way it is being solved by Sripad Baladev Vidyabhushana and by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First of all, he explained to Sripad Prakashananda Saraswati in Benares. He said, your master Shankaracharya, he has not accepted Parinamavada of Vyasadeva. He has said Vivartavada, and this is wrong. Actually, this is a transformation, the material world is real, and there's a real transformation, but not of himself, not of Brahman, but his Shakti. Brahman has so many Shakti, so many powers. So we'll end up there. I hope this is very clear, and we will continue next time. Banchakalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.